The story of Israel is a tale of triumph in the face of centuries of oppression and persecution. The Jewish people endured, persevered, and flourished beyond measure, building a thriving, proud, beautiful, and mighty nation in the Holy Land. The friendship between our countries is essential to achieving a more safe, just, and peaceful world. That is why every single day since I took the oath of office, I have stood firmly, strongly, and proudly with the people of Israel. You know that. The Jewish state has never had a better friend in the White House than your president, Donald J. Trump. That I can tell you. For over 20 years, every previous president promised to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, and they never acted, they never did it, they never had any intention of doing it, in my opinion. But unlike other politicians, I kept my promises. 2 years ago this week, I officially recognized Israel's true and eternal capital, and we opened the American Embassy in Jerusalem, finally. And you know, that's an interesting story because David Friedman, do you know David Friedman, our great ambassador? Well, David was one of the most successful lawyers in New York, maybe the most successful lawyer in New York. But he loves Israel. He loves this country, but he loves Israel. And I called him, I know how much he feels about, you know, the heart. He'd go there all the time. I'd say, David, would you like to be the ambassador to Israel? You're giving up a lot. You're giving up one of the great practices in New York City. Would you like it? It took him about 2 seconds to say, yes, that's what I want to do. And he gave up his law practice, gave up a lot of great clients. He became the ambassador. And a lot of conflict was taking place, a lot of bad feelings, a lot of bad will. We have to get the people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. I have to tell you that. We have to do it. We have to get them to love Israel more because you have people that are Jewish people that are great people. They don't love Israel enough. You know that. You know that. But David Friedman is not one of them, and he went to Israel and immediately made an impact. And then I said, you know, I want to do what no president has done. Many, many presidents said they were going to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and they never did it. And I understand why they never did it. They never did it because when they thought I was going to do it, and when they heard that I was going to make an announcement in 2 weeks, I started getting calls from everyone. I got calls from presidents. I got calls from prime ministers. I got calls from kings and queens. I got calls from everyone. Don't do it. Don't do it, please. Don't do it. It will be terrible if you do it. It will be horrible if you do it. And I heard this from many people. And then the time came closer and closer. And I did something that was smart because I learned then and there for that 2-week period, I was inundated. I learned why other presidents, in all fairness to them, why they made the campaign promise, but why they never got it off. Because they were besieged by foreign leaders, the top, the biggest people in the world. Called them. You wouldn't believe how many. Some countries you never even heard of were calling. I said, what's that country all about? And about a week and a half out, I said, listen, tell these people I'm going to call them back. I'm so busy. True. I said, tell them I'm going to call them back. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And 1 week went by, and then 3 days went by, and then I made the announcement at the White House that we're moving the embassy to Jerusalem, and that Jerusalem will be the capital of Israel. Finally, somebody said it, right? And it was a big deal, and it was great. And a day went by, and a second day went by, and there was no violence. I heard there was going to be massive violence. They showed violence because about 20 people were violent in the front row, but there was nobody behind them. So CNN had the cameras very low, pointing to the sky. They said massive crowds have gathered. Massive crowds. And I looked, I said, that's a strange angle. I've never seen that angle. It was like you had a cameraman sitting on the floor pointing up. But every once in a while you say, there's nobody behind the people in the front row. What's going on? And it was a con. It was fake news as usual. So these days went by, and then I made the phone calls, and I'd call up the kings, and I'd call up the queens, and I'd call up everybody, the presidents, the prime ministers. I'd say, hi, I'm sorry, I couldn't get back to you quickly, but what's up? What's up? And they said, thank you. Well, I learned all these tricks from Sheldon, so, you know. So I call, hi, King, what's up? What's happening? He said, I wanted to tell you I didn't like you doing that with Israel. Oh, man, I wish I called you back a little sooner. I'm sorry. Call the president. What's up, President? I wanted to tell you not to do that, sir, but you've done it. What can I said, yeah, I wish, hey, you know. I wish I could have gotten you sooner, but I was so busy. I took about 4